So you want to be a Xenon. So you want to be a robot, android, cyborg, whatever he is. And you want to whip the monsters into shape. Then you've come to the right class. In the beginner tab, we have Mimic Protocol, which just allows you to wear pirate or thief equipment, while also ignoring the stat requirement, which means you can wear, like, if an item says, oh, you need 20 strength to wear this, then you can wear it. And whether it's pirate or thief, you can wear both. Liberty Boosters allows you to fly. I didn't really find a use for this unless I just want to get to a higher area or something. Like I'm AFK in a map or I don't know. It's not really used for anything. Someone could probably write in the comments what it's actually used for. Modal Shift allows you to switch between modes. In second job, you have one skill that can, switch modes, but I guess I'll get into it when I get into the second job. But you get 3 different attacks in one attack, and Modal Shift just allows you to switch between the different modes, or the different attacks. Goodness, I don't know how to say this one. Promessa Escape allows you to teleport back here, which is Xenon's pretty much hometown. Well, that guy looks interesting. And speaking of the beginning area, if you go, it's in Aqua, but if you click on the ship or the boat, whatever this is, you can teleport to pretty much anywhere, almost anywhere. So it's a good way to just quick travel. Where am I now? Multilateral. So this skill. Okay, so oh my god. Oh, okay. So explaining the skill. When you have, like, let's say I'm just starting out, and I have 0 knockback resistance because the only reason I have 50 right now passively is because of this skill. But let's say I had none. I mean, right now I have 3 because, well, anyway. Let's say I had none, right? Once I get to 20 strength, you'll see that it says at 20 plus strength, you get 3% knockback resistance. So what I did is I added 20 strength into my AP, so now I have the plus 3. If I go to, what was it? I think in first job you get, yeah, so at 40 you get 3%, 5% more. So it doesn't matter what your percent stat is, because as you can see I'm way over that. It's actually what the base stat is, and that's what it bases that on. So if I have 20 strength, I get 20 or more strength. I get 3% knockback resistance. 20 or more dex, you get elemental resist and abnormal status. 20 or more luck, and you get 3% avoidability. And then if you have all three of them at 20 or above, you get 3% damage. So just know that that's how this works for all of them. So the next one's going to be like, oh, at 40 base stat, then you'll be at, what do you call it? The next thing, and so on. And it just keeps boosting you until eventually, when you have 260, you got, like, that's almost it. And then at 330, that's actually it. Like, that's the actual end. You do have to be level 200 to get this effect. But I wanted to get that out of the way, because a lot of people seem to be confused, like, ooh, what stat do I add? Which one's the best? I'm also going to explain this in the beginning as well. It doesn't really matter. As long as you don't put into intelligence, because that doesn't help you at all. It doesn't matter what stat you put into, as long as the base stat is enough to give you the multilateral effect. So eventually you want all 3 of them to be at 330 base, not including the plus stat. Like it has to be this number, the one before the plus. Has to be all three of them have to be at 330 plus. And then after that, just do what you want. Let's say for instance, you decide, oh, I want to do only luck. Like, that's the only stat that I want. Well, then your potentials would all have to be just for luck. And then let's say you do all 3. You just want to add into all 3, all willy-nilly, whatever, you don't really care. That's actually even better, because then when you get percent, like, let's say you cube something and you get 10% strength on one line, and then you get 10% dex on another line, and I don't know, 5% luck on the other. That's actually going to help you a lot more than if you only added into luck, or strength, or only dex. So add into all three, because it'll help you out more in the long run. You could go for all stats, yes, that would be the best case scenario, that's like the best potential for them. But it helps you more if you add into all three of the stats just randomly. They all give you the same boost. It's just, yeah, don't add into only one stat. Just do them all, except for intelligence. Okay, now that I'm done with that, oh, sorry about that long explanation. I just wanted to get that out of the way, because a lot of people are confused about this. Okay, so, I mean, I'm not really going to go over the things. I probably will. I always forget to, whatever. So anyway, you get 5 energy into this. What are they actually called? They are called units of power. I'm going to call them energy, because that's easier for me. But they're actually called units of power. Just whatever. So, yeah, you start out with 5 energy. And for each energy that you have, you get 1% all stats. And then as you job advance, so beginner, you have 5. Second job, you get 10. Third job, you get 15. And fourth job, you get 20. Let's see, anything else I'm missing? So 1 energy will be recharged every 4 seconds. That's just passively. And then there's a 60% chance to recharge 1 energy when you're hit or you evade an attack. Alright, so that's it for the beginner tab. Like I said, you can do all 3 of them. You know, you don't have to, yeah. Just like every level up after, just like, oh, I have 5 AP, put it into luck, 5 AP, put it into dex, and then strength, and just keep doing that every level up. But, yeah, it's whatever. Okay, so in first job, you get Beam Spline, which just does 2 hits. It's nothing too crazy. The reach is pretty good though. And the attack speed, could be better, but I mean it's a first job skill, you can't really be too overpowered in first job. Also hits a little bit behind you, seeing as how it's a whip. Another bonus to a lot of the skills that Xenon has is based on the whip that you have, the weapon that you have, the end of the whip is your actual weapon. So now I'm going to switch back to my actual main weapon. And now the end is based on the whip that I'm wearing. And this goes for a lot of the skills. Little details like that are pretty cool. Alright. And it can attack up to 4 enemies. Then we have... I'm going to just call this Flash Jump. It's an amazing Flash Jump. It goes really far. You can do it twice, so you can change direction, like, oop, nope, didn't mean to go that way. It's an amazing Flash Jump, I love it. It goes really far, bounces you really high. So I could probably go from this bottom platform to the top one. It's so good. And then, yeah, it says you can use it twice. Alright, so next is your first energy skill. So, it's going to cost you 3 energy, which is 3 bars of the energy over here. And what it does is it increases your attack power by 30. That is plus 30, by the way. It's pretty good. Lasts a long time as well. So any skill that you see has this little like blue ribbon or whatever that is on it, that means that it's going to use energy. Alright, so next is Radial Nerve. That's passive. Pinpoint Salvo. So when you use it, it is a passive skill. And when you attack enemies, there's a chance that... what is it, 50% chance? Oh no, it just... Okay, I thought... So it just has a cooldown of 2 seconds, that's what it is. So if you keep attacking, the missiles will come out and help you, like, mob or boss or whatever you're doing. It's nice. It's a nice bonus. And that's pretty much what that does. Summons 4 missiles. And then, like I said, there's Multilateral when your strength is, Well, I already explained it. I'm not going to go over it again. I'll hover over it though, just so you guys can see the stat bonuses that it gives you. So, moving into second job, we get your first mode skill, as in you can switch the mode. You can either click on it to switch, or you can just press the modal shift button and keep pressing it until you get to the one that you actually want. And then just press whether either left, right, or up to choose the one that you want. So I'm going to start off with Flash, which allows you to do... Let me actually take this off, the missiles. Which allows you to do 3 lines with... Nope, that's it. And it hits 6 enemies. So it's short range, but it hits 3 lines, which is pretty good. Kind of slow. It's not too fast. And then I'll switch again to the left one, which is Concentrate. And this only does 2 lines, but it reaches farther. It's a lot slower than the one that I was just using. But yeah, it covers more distance. And then finally, we have Takeoff, which launches you into the air, also dealing damage to enemies. It does 2 lines, and yeah, that's about it. This one I never really used. I mostly use the long one. But then again, this one has 3 lines, so maybe it's better. 145, 3 lines, versus 240. Oh, but it has extra crit. So I would actually use this for mobbing, because it has the extra crit chance. 30% extra crit. That's very nice. But it only does 2 lines. That's fine. Hits 6 enemies. So next is Ion Thrust. And as you can see, it is an energy skill. It uses 3 energy. And what it does is it just knocks back enemies while you ride in a ship. You can also jump. But yeah, you just ride in a bike thing and push enemies along while you attack them. That's about it. Doesn't really have any other special things to it. Efficiency Streamline. So this just increases your HP and MP by 30%. It's your second buff. Booster just increases your attack speed by 2. And the rest are passive. There's another Multilateral. And then all of the pinpoint salvo redesigns just give it extra damage. Alright. Now moving on to third job. So in third job you get another mode skill, which the left one is Air Whip, which a lot of people seem to love a lot. I don't know why, because the other one is much better. The up one. So this one is quick. It does do 3 lines. Is it 3 lines? No, 2 lines. Oh, my mistake. And it has a pretty high reach. So I guess I can see why people like it for that reason. But it's mainly meant to be used with Gravity Pillar, which throws enemies into the air, and then airborne enemies take how much extra damage? 190% extra damage. And then if we switch modes again, the up one is Explosion. This is the one that I like the most, because it does 3 lines pushing out. Wait, is it 3 lines? Or is it the explosion that's 3 lines? Oh, okay, so it does 2 lines when you thrust, and then 1 extra line when you pull back. And that's pretty much why I like it so much. Because it's strong, it's not that slow. Here, let me use Booster. It's not that slow. This is like what I would use for bossing in third job. Like if I was going to go fight Zakum early or something, I would use this. Maybe I would use the other one just to get rid of the arms, because you know they're a bit high. But then I would just switch into this one to get rid of the body, because it's really good. So yeah, it does 3 lines, hits 6 enemies. And of course, if you're training in a flat map, I would use it for just training, because it's a good skill. Diagonal Chase. This is another like mobility kind of skill, but it also does damage and pushes enemies. So that's good. Oh, I forgot to go over the third one. Which, the reason I did that is because I forgot about it. I never used this skill. It does 3 lines and launches you into the air. Or, you can only use it in the air, but it'll launch you even higher in the air. And basically what it's meant to do is you're supposed to use it in a combo with Diagonal Chase. So you push the enemies... Oh, sorry, it sent me to the other platform. So you push the enemies, and then you hit them with that when they're under you. And that's pretty much what that does. I don't think it gets any extra damage from using it as a combo, but just so you know, it is... yeah, it can be used during Gravity Pillar as well. So you can launch them in the air, and then chase after them when they're in the air. So, a lot of uses from that. Hey, I forgot to mention Diagonal Chase. You can use it twice, if you use it from the ground. However, if you jump first and then use it, you can only use it once in the air. So yeah, just wanted to put that in there. Kinda forgot, sorry. And then we get Hybrid Defenses. This makes your avoidability go up to 100%, but it uses 7 energy. And on the top right, you'll see that it has a little counter, which is for every time that you dodge. So you have 10 extra, like, 10 added avoidability chances. So the first time you have a 100% avoidability chance. And every time that you get hit, it goes down by, I believe, 5%? Or was it 10%? So yeah, minus 5% for every time that you get hit. And also, minus 5% damage you take as well. So, you know, the first hit is 100%, second hit, 95, and so on. So right now I'm at 7, so, yeah. Oh, and it'll go away after all 10 have been used up. And then we have another passive missile. So this one is called Aegis System, which when you are hit or you evade an attack, you send missiles out. You send out 3 missiles and it has a cooldown of 1.5 seconds. Imagine if there was no cooldown on it. Oh my god, there would be missiles everywhere. Okay, let's see, what else? Oh god. Words, man. Triangulation? So, when you hit an enemy, there's a 30% chance to... Here, you know what? Let me switch maps. I just like the music here, that's why I started here, but let me change maps so I can show you this skill. Alright. So, when you attack an enemy, there's a... what was it? 30% chance? So, there's a 30% chance to put like a little thing above their head. Oh, you can't really see it. I don't know why it's like that. It's not supposed to be transparent. But you can kind of make it out. There's like this little thing attached to the enemy's head. And if you get 3 of them on the enemy's head, all 3 of them will come crashing down on the enemy, dealing 340% damage. And it attacks 3 times. Let's see. The enemy's accuracy and avoidability will be reduced by 8% for each little thing they have on their head. And like I said, when there's 3 of them above the enemy's head, it'll do damage 3 times. It's kind of like a final attack, I guess. Manifest Projector. This is their shadow partner. And what it does is it just doubles your lines. So instead of doing 2 lines, you do wow, what? Instead of doing 2 lines, you do 4. What in the world was I thinking? And it doesn't actually go away, like it doesn't have a duration. But if you take 1000% damage, as in you pretty much take enough damage to die 10 times, it'll go away. But you can reactivate it whenever you want. Multilateral again. Emergency resupply. So, let's say I want to use the avoidability skill, which uses a lot of energy, which is 7. If I use emergency resupply, I instantly get back 10 energy. The cooldown is 30 seconds as well. And then, yeah, passive. Alright, so moving on to 4th job. First skill that we see is Beam Dance. This skill is pretty popular. I mainly use it during, what's it called, DIPQ or places where enemies are bunched up together a lot. But it does pretty fast damage. You can move around and jump with it. And I would say this skill has like the fastest way to apply the like triangle thing. See that like this enemy has 3 on their head already. So if I hit them again, they die. But you'll see it more on like Von Leon or something, where the triangles will actually do something. Triangles, the 3 things is what I meant to say. So yeah, that's Beam Dance. Mecha Purge, which is also a mode skill. In Snipe mode, it's your bossing skill. It only hits 1 enemy, but it hits them for a lot of lines and for pretty good damage. It's also very fast. I remember when Xenon first came out, it was not this fast. Anywho. So it does 7 lines, which means it does 14 with the, Shadow Partner. And it ignores 30% enemy defense, but it only hits 1 enemy. Very good skill. The next mode, which is the left mode, is Bombard. And Bombard, I used it a lot when I'm in like a flat map, like this one, where I could just, jump from one enemy to the next. Has very good reach, hits a little bit behind you as well, and it's pretty fast. It does 4 hits on 8 enemies, which means, of course, 8 hits. Just, it doubles everything that you do. The 3rd job skill. So next is probably the mode I use the most for mobbing, which is Bombardment. And this does 5 lines to 15 enemies. This one has a more upwards hitbox, so if I jump here and use it, I should be able to hit the top platform as well, while also hitting the one below. So I like to use this one a lot for training because it seems to do more damage. It's a little bit slower, but it also hits behind you. Like, you can leave it behind and just keep moving. But it also has higher range, like it can hit above you a lot better. So in maps that have, like, let's say, multiple platforms, this one's really good. Alright, so next we move into the hypergram field. Hypogram field. Yeah, I said that right. Oh, cool! So the left one is Force Field, which when used, every time the ball hits one of the walls, it'll do damage to the enemies that are pretty much inside of the area. And because I'm lagging, the ball's moving like super fast sometimes. It's not always going to do that. Anyway, so let's move on to the next mode, or the next one, which is Up. And what the Up one does, or it's called Penetrate, and what it does is, instead of every time the ball hits the wall, it's every time the ball hits the enemy. So there you go. Oh, it won't do damage if I'm like not standing still. Or if I'm not standing. So yeah. I don't really know which one does more damage on larger enemies. I haven't really tested it myself, but I love the purple one. I mainly use the purple one. And then the last one is the right one, which is more of a support kind of skill. Oh, it's actually called Support! And what it does is if you or your ally are within it, they get their HP increased by, I believe, 15%. by 10%. So the HP of you and your party members are increased by 10%. And if you or your party members evade an attack, you gain 1 energy. So let's say I use all the energy. Oh my goodness, this lag. So every time I avoid an enemy attack, like, it just gives you an extra boost. So remember in the beginner tab where every time you avoid you get plus 1 energy? Well, with that you get plus 2 because you're within the field. And then your party members can also add on to that. Next is OOP arts. Or boop arts? I pretty much call them OP arts because this skill is very OP, if it didn't have such a huge energy cost. So it uses up all 20 of your energy to give you a boost of 25% final damage and 30% boss damage. It's very good, but it uses all of your energy. When I use it, I like to use, what was the skill called? Supply something? Energy resupply. So that I can get back to 10, and then just work from there. And then the rest, I believe, are passive. You get a lot of avoidability with this class. Oh, no, there's a temporal pod. So when you use this skill, it resets cooldowns faster. Let's see, duration of party cooldown reduction 60. So yeah, it just reduces the cooldown of your skills. You and your party member skills, if they're near you. So I'm going to use some cooldown skills. Okay, so I guess we'll look at resupply, and we'll look at the hypergram field. So I'm going to use both of them. Okay, get in the chair. And when you're in this chair, the cooldowns are reduced. So I think that's meant to say reduced by 60%. But you can be in this chair for as long as you want. And the cooldown is 120 seconds, so 2 minutes. It's a very good skill. It's not used very often because you don't really want to use it. Like, I don't know when you would use it. Maybe if you're trying to cool down the hero's will skill or something, but... Or maybe someone's trying to get their bind back and it's a 3rd job or 4th job skill. I don't know, but it reduces cooldowns. Of course, it'll go away if you get hit. Alright, Maple Warrior gives you and your party members 50% all stats. Hero's Will cures abnormal status. Knockback, okay. Multilateral, pinpoint. Okay, so the rest are passive. Alright, so moving on to the hyper passives. I didn't put any into Beam Dance. I don't really use Beam Dance outside of DIPQ or something where I don't even have to move around that much. But I can just show you what they do. So I'll just hover over them. Okay. So what I do put into is Mecha Purge 20% damage, and also ignore 10% extra enemy defense. Almost choked on my own spit. And then I added all 3 into Hypergram Field. So if I'm using the green one or the purple one, then the damage that the orb does is 10%, increased by 10%. And then the speed of the orb is also increased, and it lasts for 10 seconds longer. Now, since the duration of the skill is 20 seconds, then increasing it by 10 is of course 30, and the cooldown is also 30. So as soon as it goes away, you can have it up again. So moving on to the active skills. Oh god, these names. Amaranth Generator? Amaranth, is that how you say that? Whatever. What it does is it gives you unlimited energy for 10 seconds. And also if you have no energy, it'll recharge you instantly. So I'm going to use this so I have no energy. And then I'll use the 150 Hyper. And now I have unlimited energy for 10 seconds. So I could use all of my energy skills, or the skills that take energy. And yeah, that's what that does. It has a cooldown of 90 seconds, so not too long. Moving on to the 170 Hyper. This is your bind skill. So when you use it, you'll bind, you'll pretty much stop the movement of any enemies that get hit by it. That is KSer. Okay, so I'm gonna use it on these guys. Never mind, it killed them, but I'll use it on Von Leon and you'll see. It just binds the enemy. Next is the 200 Hyper skill, which allows you to pretty much bombard the map. Where did I used to have this? I think I had it here. So you bombard the map with, like, energy beams or something. And you also lower the enemy's defense. Oh, look how cool that is. You lower the enemy's defense by 30% for 10 seconds. You're also invincible while casting. So, yeah, that does it for all of the Xenon skills. I believe it is time to go bossing! Hooray! Alright, I found a use for this. You can make your bind skill reset faster. It says like 40 or 59. Now it's at 40. So yeah, it's very good for resetting cooldowns. Anyway, bossing. When bossing as a Xenon, I use the 150 Hyper to start off, use all of the skills that would use up energy, and then I use the level 200 Hyper to lower the enemy's defense, summon the little thing, Hypergram I guess it's called, and just snipe away. Of course, every time that I do damage, the purple missiles come out, and every time I avoid a hit, the blue ones come out. Or if I get hit. So I'm going to go ahead and bind him. And normally when he's bound, I like to just jump into him. So that I can get the blue missiles to come out. I don't always do it, but I guess it helps DPS. Alright, and that's how I boss as a Xenon. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you in the next one.